Welcome to week 7 of the Freedom Ticket. What I want to talk to you about today is the A9 algorithm. You may have heard of this before. And this is the algorithm that, it's actually a patented algorithm that actually controls everything on Amazon. It controls the entire shopping experience. And you have to understand some of the basics of how it works if you're going to succeed on Amazon. Amazon's not a place where you can just throw up a product and expect to start making sales. Now, sometimes that will happen because the algorithm will discover you and maybe there's not too much competition, but I hear a lot of people all the time saying that Amazon just doesn't work. It's usually because they're not doing it right, and they're not giving the algorithm the data and the information that it needs to help you succeed. Now, the A9 was created years ago by Amazon by a team of about 7 to 10 data scientists, and it's believed that they're in the San Jose office of Amazon, and everything that they do is secretive. So nobody knows exactly how the A9 algorithm works. There's been little bits and pieces that have snuck out from time to time here and there where people have gotten some data on how it actually works, but usually it's by trial and error, where sellers like myself and Bradley and the Helium 10 team and other sellers out there are just throwing things up against the wall and seeing how the algorithm reacts. But the problem is the algorithm is constantly evolving and changing. Amazon's constantly tweaking it. So what worked 2 years ago for perhaps ranking or getting discovered on Amazon may not be the same now, or they weight things differently. For example, in the past, outside traffic wasn't nearly as important as it is now. Amazon will reward you in the algorithm if you send traffic from Facebook or Instagram or from other social media places more so than they would in the past. And so that it's constantly evolving, constantly changing. But the thing that you need to know is this is done by data scientists, and they know what they're doing, and it's tweaked to generate the most revenue possible for Amazon. Because at the end of the day, all that Amazon cares about is A, satisfying their customers and making sure they have very happy customers that are going to come in and buy again. And all they care about is revenue per customer. It's called RPC, or revenue per customer. And that's basically composed of a few elements. The number one is interest. So are people interested in what you have to sell? Are they actually clicking and viewing what you have to sell? And then if the second one is conversion. Are they actually, once they click and view it, are they convinced enough that they actually want this item, and do they buy it? The third one is relevance. Is what they're looking at relevant to what they were searching for? What is the buyer intent? So on some keywords, they may type in a general keyword, but the results that show are not exactly what they're looking for. For example, like I gave you earlier in an earlier module, the keyword spy camera. Spy camera could mean a big camera that goes over the garage, or it could mean a little small camera that goes on a bookshelf that's to spy on the nanny or the babysitter or something like that, versus one that's more of a security camera. So the results that show on that page are critically important, and they have to be relevant to what the buyer intent is. So Amazon's constantly tweaking the algorithm to make sure that the results that show are actually what the buyers are looking for. The next part is satisfaction. They want to make sure that if the buyer does have interest, he does convert, and it is relevant, that they're actually satisfied with their purchase, and that's usually in the form of reviews and ratings. And the other part that plays into this is PPC and revenue per customer. Amazon does factor in how good are you at the PPC? Are you even running PPC? If you're running PPC, a lot of people believe that does help you a little bit in the rankings. And what is the additional potential revenue that Amazon can make off of that PPC in conjunction with the commission that they're making already on every sale? So that plays a role. And then, like I said, outside traffic is another key factor. Sending links to Amazon to your pages from different social media sites or even from Google can help you, because Amazon, at the end of the day, it's revenue per customer. They don't care whose product they buy. They don't care if it's your product or if it's somebody else's product. All they care is that they buy something. And so when you're sitting outside traffic, you're basically almost like a free affiliate. And in fact, Amazon right now has introduced a new program for brands. So if you're brand registered, you can actually, Amazon will reward you in exchange for sending traffic to your pages, because they know that the person might buy your product and somebody else's product, which increases revenue per customer, and that they're willing to give you a little bit of that money back. Or they might buy your product and some more of your products, or your product and somebody else's product. And so Amazon actually has a program now for brands that they will actually almost pay you as an affiliate when you send outside traffic if you use some special links and some special codes and send them to a special page. So that's how much Amazon values that outside traffic. And so those are the things that actually comprise the A9. And like I said, it's constantly changing. And one of the key things about it is the relevance factor. So on Amazon, for relevance, categorization is super key. And so Amazon categorizes all the products on Amazon into main categories and then subcategories. And they have manually input and through some AI, a series of keywords that are tied to each one of these categories. So if they believe that you're not relevant, you're not going to actually show up. If the intended search based on their AI fits into a certain category and they believe you're not relevant, you're not going to show up. So how do you tell Amazon that you're relevant? Well, in the beginning, Amazon doesn't know. So they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're going to show your ads a little bit more. They're going to show maybe your listing on a few other places that they normally wouldn't. But you've got to prove to them that you're relevant. And the way that you prove to them that you're relevant is by creating a very complete listing. It's got a very succinct and good title that's got relevant keywords. The bullet points are relevant. The images are relevant. Your description and A+ content are relevant. You've completed as much of the back end, all the additional data for sizes and fabrics and keywords and so on, as much as possible. Amazon will take all that information and decide how relevant you are based on a whole lot of word associations. It does things like if someone types in the words large building in New York, Amazon knows based on relevance that if you have the word Empire State Building in your listing, it's going to show you because that's a large building in New York. So it uses a lot of AI and uses a lot of stuff where it looks at words that are close to each other. And it's very sophisticated data science to see what's relevant and what's not relevant. So the best way you can do that is by creating the most complete listing possible and by using keywords and terminology that's going to feed this engine. And then you got to run PPC, or you got to make sales naturally. And that is the final straw in the hat that shows that Amazon thinks you're relevant, but you're only truly relevant if actual people convert and buy. And then that's where you start moving up in the ranks. So when you first launch your product, you're pretty much going to be in the never lands. Unless there's just no competition for a keyword, you're probably not going to be in the top several pages of results. You might not even be the top 300 results. But there's certain things that you can do, especially in your title, and we'll talk about that later on when we get to creating a title, that can help you jump from the never lands up to the mid-level or even to the top pretty quickly by showing Amazon very fast how relevant you are by what you put into your title and some of the other places in your listing. And those are key to success on Amazon. Amazon also looks at other things on buyer intent like heat maps. Heat maps, so they know where the user is mousing over and how long they're spending on certain pages, whether they're watching the video, which images they're looking at. They also look at things like add to cart. Did the customer add this to the cart, or did they add it to a wish list? Maybe they didn't want to buy it right now, but that indicates buyer intent or interest. They also look at bounce rates. How long do they stay on the page before they bounce out? What other products did they look at besides yours, and are those other products relevant? And so should they show your product on those pages or those other products on your page? There's a whole number of factors that come into play when it comes to the A9. So sometimes you might see people that are doing different courses or different Facebook ads or different gurus. They'll say, hey, look out, the new A10 algorithm's here, the new A11. All that stuff is just hokey pokey, just marketing hype. There is no such thing. A9 is a patented, and that's what Amazon calls it. They do different versions of it. They may tweak it, but there's no such thing as an A10 or A11 or A12. So anybody that's out there that's hyping that, run as fast as you can from those people, because it's just marketing hokey pokey. Another thing that you can do though to help in the algorithm on the satisfaction level is by getting more reviews. And the way you get more reviews is by selling more product and having a good product that solves people's problems. But you can also use tools like Helium 10's follow-up tool that will, or the actual request a review from customer, that will actually increase your odds of perhaps getting a review. Now, remember that about 30 to 50% of the people that are on Amazon have opted out of receiving messages or email follow-ups. So you're not going to reach all your customers. But if it's a super important thing, you can actually break through by putting the words important inside brackets, not quote, not parentheses, but brackets in the first part of the subject line. But don't abuse that. That's only if it's super important. You had a product recall or there's something majorly wrong. You need to warn the customer. Only use it for very special occasions like that. And that will get through even if they've opted out. But typically the review rate is only about 1 to 2% on Amazon naturally for actually written reviews, and somewhere between 3 and 10% for actually product ratings. So if you need to show the algorithm that you're more relevant and get that satisfaction part of the RPC up, then you might want to use a tool like Follow Up, or use the option where you can actually have Amazon. There's a little button that you can hit, and Amazon and Helium 10 allows you to do this too. Actually, Amazon will send them out a form that asks for a review. Now, if you're going to send an email follow-up, you can only send one message. You can only send it one time, and this is not a confirmation message. Amazon already sends that. This should be something that adds value. So you should be adding value to the customer experience by providing them some additional instructions or some additional tips or strategies, or adding some sort of value to them. You can't cross-sell in those emails. You can't cross-sell to your other products. You can't link to outside of Amazon. There's a whole series of rules. If you look at the follow-up tool on Helium 10, it'll guide you through some of that stuff. But that can be a great way to try to just incrementally increase that and maybe double those numbers if you're really good at it. But that's the basics of the A9 algorithm, and we're going to be showing you in some of the later modules exactly how to create your listing and what to do to feed this thing so that you have the best chance of it recognizing what you want it to recognize and showing it to the right customers who hopefully convert and start buying your product and making you a lot of money. We'll see you in the next module.